Sarah. What does she want? Gracie whispers, sitting down beside me on the bed, folding her hands neatly in her lap. I shrug my shoulders in response. Are you in trouble? She persists. Everyone in the whole school must know that I was sent to see Mrs. Dwyer. I shake my head from side to side. I do not want to talk. I do not want to talk to anyone except Maddie. I am sorry, she says. Her words catch me by surprise. I wonder why she would say she is sorry. Is she sorry for me? Is she sorry for Maddie? Is she sorry that she is not the one in trouble? I should have gone with her, she adds, and I am surprised that I find comfort in her words. I am glad she did not say empty words to me. That Maddie is brave and that Maddie is strong, that Maddie will be all right. Onja Jine, she says loudly, not caring who hears her speak in the language of the people. She did not need to tell me that Maddie is her friend. She puts her arms around my shoulder, and I am surprised that I find comfort in her touch. Niaon, I say quietly to Maddie's friend who has become mine. Maddie. You there, girl! You there! Fear. I do not dare to turn toward the voice, though I know it is me he calls for. Hey, you there! Escape? The tracks across the field seem so far away. I try to run, but the ears of corn in my shaking arms and the wetness of my skirt around my weary legs slow me into a dreamlike movement where, no matter how hard I try, my body will not move, cannot move fast enough. I let the ears of corn drop to the ground beside me and swing my arms back and forth to move me forward. But just as my legs respond, a hand clamps onto my shoulder, and its heaviness forces me down into a heap into the muddy ground. Hey there, girl, you all right? The voice sounds surprised, and as I look up at the face staring into my own, there's surprise in his eyes as well. He reaches down and slips his hand gently under my elbow and lifts me to my feet. Come on, you come with me, he says. Let's get you up to the house. My head tells me I should look for an escape, but my body tells me I cannot. A firmness in his voice tells me not to run, but the softness of his tone tells me not to be afraid. He turns me toward the gray buildings clustered together at the end of the field. Side by side, we walk slowly over the clumps of mud and through the tangled mass of dying plants. My heart pounds faster and faster at each step I take, but I am too tired and too cold to care. When we reach the porch, he pushes me forward, up the steps and through a door into the warmest room I have ever been in, at least since I left home. Warmth. Look here, Agnes, the man says in a jovial, booming voice. Look what I found in the field. Agnes is the woman at the stove, her enormous back facing us, her right elbow moving in circles, and though her immense body, almost as wide as the stove, blocks my view and keeps me from seeing what holds her attention, I suspect she stirs something cooking on the stove. The thought of something, anything warm inside me evaporates any fear I hold. And just what did you... she begins as she turns, stopping short when her eyes full of surprise fall on me. Well, my goodness, Hiram, what have we here? She exclaims, turning slightly to drop the spoon back into the pot. Found her in the field stealing corn. Yes, now I am a thief. Well, she looks half-starved. Come here, child. Sit down, sit down. Kindness. She pulls a wooden chair away from the table and motions for me to sit, and when I see her reaching for a bowl on the shelf, I move to the table slowly, but willingly. As I settle into the chair, a bowl of steaming soup is placed before me. Come, she says. You eat now. No one around me needs to be hungry. No one around me needs to steal food. Ain't that the truth, Hiram? That's the truth, Agnes. She thinks I am hungry. I am not hungry. I am cold. I dip the spoon into the broth ever so slowly so that the shaking of my hand is not noticed and lift it to my lips. The smell of the soup is rich with herbs and the steam warms my face and my body begins to relax. You got a name, child? I stare into my soup. You from that Indian school, ain't you? She continues in a voice that is not unkind. I stare into my soup. Sure's from that school, he says. Just look at her. I bet she don't speak English yet. I stare into my soup. She can't be on an outing, Agnes says quietly. We would know if she was working for anyone round here, she adds, wouldn't we? Why have they softened their voices if they think I do not understand what they say? Hard to tell, the man says. Maybe she's new and just got lost doing an errand. Stealing corn? Agnes responds. Hiram starts to pace back and forth by the door. She's a runaway, ain't she, Hiram? Fear. I sip the soup slowly from the spoon, trying to keep my hand from shaking. Hiram paces back and forth. Agnes is quiet. Suddenly, I cannot keep the cold inside me from coming out, and I drop the spoon into the dish, throwing my hands up to cover my face just as a sneeze explodes. My goodness, Agnes shouts. This child is wet clean through. She needs to get out of those clothes. I pick up the spoon once more, pretending to eat as I watch Agnes. Her enormous body waddles through the doorway into another room and disappears from my view. "Hear him?" she calls loudly. "Come here." "What did you want?" he asks, trudging into the next room. "I need that box off of the top shelf," she hollers. I rest the spoon quietly on the edge of the dish and slide my legs out from under the table, careful not to move the chair, and again I am glad that I am small. "I need those clothes up there," she says, "way up on top, the ones I was given to the church." I hear some shuffling movement. "Bound to be something in that box she can wear." I'm almost to the door when a loud clatter, followed by a thump, comes from the other room. "Hear him," she claims. "Careful with that." He responds loudly, but I no longer can hear the words as I close the door quietly behind me and tell my legs to run, to run, to run. Freedom. Sarah. The rain beats against my window, and when I close my eyes, I can picture Maddie and me and our mother and father and sisters and brothers listening to the rain on the roof as we sit around the table in our kitchen, glad that the rain has come to nourish the earth. But when I open my eyes because I cannot sleep, and in the darkness see bed after bed, in two long rows along the walls, the image of home fades quickly, and the empty bed I know is here reminds me that Maddie is somewhere between here and home, and I wonder if she too is somewhere where she hears the same rain. I sit on the bank of the creek, hidden in the brush behind the trunk of the willow, the weeping tree whose branches bend and sway with the wind, and I listen to the train whose whistles echo softly in the distance. I try not to breathe so I can listen. I try not to cough so I can listen, waiting to hear if the whistle blows again, blows louder and so closer. It is. It is louder. It is closer. The rain has stopped and the morning sun tells me the train must be headed north. Through leafless branches, I stare at the tall tower that stands on guard on the other side of the tracks, waiting and hoping. When Sarah and I came to school on the train, it stopped over and over again by a tower as tall as this one, a giant wooden bucket on giant wooden legs. I hope that the train will stop here. The wetness of my clothes creates a chill I cannot shake as I crouch behind a mass of tangled branches. I cough and cough, holding my hands to my mouth, muffling the sounds that might travel on the wind. I want to feel the warmth of the sun. I want to step away from the dark shadows and into the pool of spreading sunshine. But a man stands on a platform near the tower, pacing back and forth, looking down the track. I must wait for the train. The train must be moving slowly. I have heard the whistle blowing for what seems like forever, but I see nothing. I wait and wait and wait. And then there it is, big and black, moving toward me, moving slowly, which is good, because if it is moving slowly, then maybe it will stop beside the wooden tower. And if it stops, I can climb aboard, and soon I will be home. The whistle blows louder and louder, and the train moves slower and slower. Yes, it will stop. It will stop. The whistle gives one long wail, and the wheels screech to a stop. I escape from my hiding place, scrambling from underneath a tangle of branches, standing up quickly to make my plan. The sight of the long row of boxes as far to the south as I can see starts my heart pounding. I cannot move. I cannot breathe. There is no hope. Where are the empty boxes? Where are the train's cars with the big openings? An endless, endless row of boxes, all with solid walls. Think, Maddie, think! A clang from the train startles me into decision. My hope must be on the other side. I climb quickly up the steep bank to the edge of the tracks, take a deep breath, and drop to my knees, crawling on hands and toes under the train, pausing only for a moment at the other side to look for signs of human movement before I slide out cautiously from underneath this mass of metal. I spring upright and turn around to face the train, looking quickly to right and left. Yes! There are boxes to my right with openings large enough for me and all my family to climb through at once. But it is only me. I run past 1, 2, 3 cars, finally coming to an opening. I stop sharply, my hopes falling fast, suddenly sadly aware that my escape is halted, not by a weakness of mind or will, but only because I am too small. I am too small. There is no way for me to climb onto the train. If I stretch my arms, I can reach the edge, but even if I was not cold, if I was not tired, I could not pull myself up into the emptiness. I look around, desperate for some help. A rock, a log, anything. I do not see the man who paced on the platform waiting, like me, for the train, but I do see a small shed just behind the tower, and I know if there is any hope, it must be there. I run down the bank and hurry toward the shed, using the sparse cover of the bushes as my shield, hoping the man who stood waiting on the platform is busy, hoping the train will not soon leave. I hear voices, muffled sounds, as I sneak up behind the shed. I cannot hear the words they say, so I am certain they must be closer to the train than they are to me. Behind the wooden shed lies a metal bucket, missing the handle and bashed in on one corner. I hope it can make me tall enough to reach the edge of the empty car. With my salvation in my arms, I hurry back through the bushes, but the sound of the train's whistle and the grinding of metal against metal warns me the train is soon to leave, and all caution is thrown aside as I break into the open, running faster and faster, faster than tired legs can go. "Hey there!" a voice behind me bellows. "Hey there! What you up to?" My heart is pounding as I reach the opening and slam the bucket upside down into the stones beside the track. I step up onto its bottom, my elbows planted onto the rim of the opening's wooden edge, and lean into the darkness. "You there!" the voice hollers. "Get away from there before you get hurt!" I hear footsteps crunching on the stones, and as I look quickly to my left, I see the man from the platform running towards me. "Get down!" he yells. "Get down!" "No!" I shout, pressing my arms onto the wooden floor as the train rumbles and groans and jumps into motion. "I'm going home!" But it is too late. The whistle blows once more, and the car heaves itself forward. The bucket beneath me tips over, and my arms, weak and tired, cannot hold me up any longer, and my body, wet and shivering, tumbles onto the moving ground. My hopes are gone.